You probably know I recently switched from Unity to Unreal Engine, and suddenly all my 3D models were broken. Normally, my 3D models were structured in a specific way that worked with Unity, but when I switched to Unreal Engine, the LODs and the materials just vanished. So I needed to adjust the LODs and the materials for each and every single one of those meshes. But since it's a lot of materials and they're all structured in the same way, I thought, what if I could automate this process with Python? Since I'm using Blender, I installed the Blender Python library into my environment. Here's the core concept. The script starts by loading in the first model of a folder. Once the model is loaded, it then performs the steps. It adjusts the LODs and applies the necessary materials and then saves the updated model. Then it proceeds to the next file in that folder and repeats that until all the files in that folder are done and adjusted. If I would do this manually, it would have probably taken many hours, and now it was a thing of 2 minutes. But that was just the beginning, and the next big task rolled around. And that was managing all the database for the car parts, because obviously we have car parts, but we also want to attach them correctly to the car. So each part needed to be sorted and added with the correct category into my database, and doing this manually was not an option. The script basically scans all the meshes in a folder and identifies each part based on keywords like a hood, a spoiler, a fender, or anything else you want. It then adds all these parts to the Excel sheet with their path in the Unreal Engine format and then categorizes them appropriately by the keywords. But for now, this is just an Excel sheet with some categories and some links to files. Now, there are some other parts which have a left and right side, like front fenders, which have a front fender left and a front fender right. The script is smart enough to recognize these parts and only adds the left side into our Excel database and links the right side as a secondary part, which is just another row. Now the script just says to which car the parts actually belong to and then adjust this CSV to a format which Unreal Engine can actually read. Since Unreal Engine can read these CSV files, you can convert this into a normal database if you have formatted it correctly. But let's take a small step back and talk about what you should consider when automating your game. So automated scripts can be a real lifesaver in several scenarios. I think there are 4 scenarios in which you can use those automated scripts. First, the repetitive tasks, the complex ones, the large-scale task, and a consistency task. A repetitive task is anything that involves doing the task over and over again, like for me, adjusting the LODs or adding materials. Automation can definitely save you huge amounts of time. And the second one was the complex task. These are tasks which involve multiple steps which are really prone to human error, such as sorting and categorizing data, and automated script just ensure more accuracy and efficiency. When you are dealing with large scales of data, automation is key, just because you can make many mistakes. Just like in the complex task, there are many parts in which you are prone to human error and which can ruin your whole, for example, dataset. The last example are the consistency tasks, which are tasks which need to be performed the same way over and over again, which over time need to maintain consistency, especially in game development. If you want to test things out, do that the same way each time. So when you create those automated scripts, you should definitely start with a 6-step plan. And that plan is to identify the tasks first. So you should definitely start identifying if you have a repetitive or a complex task that you want to automate. For example, in my case, fixing the 3D models and managing the database. The next step would be to break down the task into individual smaller tasks which are manageable. For example, I can't just fix all the 3D models at once. First needed to load the model, adjust it, and apply the materials, and then save the model. So you create individual steps which you can then easier implement. So after that, you can choose your tools. Tools are basically the programming language you choose, which will also be really dependent on what kind of engine you use. For example, Unity or Unreal Engine. In my case, I used Python because it's very versatile and easy to implement, especially with Unreal. In Unity, you can even go for fully in-engine automated scripts made using C#, and then you can write your script. So you can start coding with the tasks which are broken down. Then you can test it. So you run the script on a small data set to ensure that it works and make some adjustments if you need them. After that, the last step is that you can scale it up. So once you're confident that your script works, you can then make your script run on the full data set. That's all I have for you in this episode. Join our Discord in the description down below and subscribe. Happy coding and see you in the next episode.